The Growing Destinations podcast is brought to you by Experience Rochester. From live music and local breweries to unforgettable dining, events, arts, and outdoor experiences, Rochester, Minnesota is full of energy, creativity, and surprises people don't always expect. This is Rochester Really. Learn more at experiencerochestermn.com.
The things that a community really wants are also the things that visitors want. And so people want to be a visitor in their own city and be proud of that when people come see them. And they also want to be authentic. So I think people want to feel welcome and like they belong in their community, and also like other people feel welcome there.
The best way cities can expand is to have what I call the three-legged stool. You need to have a mayor and council that gets it, has a vision, flies at 10,000 feet, doesn't get in the weeds. You got to have a staff that gets along well with the council and implements it. And then you got to have your community, which is your residents. I've worked in 5 cities, and I've had most of my cities that were all aligned. And when you're aligned, it's amazing what a city can do.
We are a food production town, meaning that we have several large businesses that produce food for not only the state, of course, but the world. And so when you look at Minnesota's beginnings, it is agriculture. And you look at their future, it is agriculture.
Welcome to the Growing Destinations podcast, your source for conversations about the ideas, people, and strategies shaping the future of destination development and community growth. I'm your host, Bill Von Bank. Today we're recording a special episode from Rochester, Minnesota, during the League of Minnesota Cities annual conference, where local leaders from communities across the state have gathered to share ideas, discuss challenges, and learn from one another. When we talk about destinations, we often focus on attracting visitors, but the strongest destinations are also great places to live, communities where people want to build careers, raise families, start businesses, and connect with others. That's the focus of today's conversation, building places people want to visit and live. Joining me are Alison Zelms, City Administrator for Rochester, Mike Mornson, City Manager for Hopkins, and Sharon Hanson, City Administrator for Marshall. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks, Bill.
Let's begin with a simple question. Every Minnesota city has its own personality. In a sentence or two, how would you describe the character of your community? Alison in Rochester?
Well, Rochester's the third largest city in Minnesota, but what I like to describe Rochester as is a big little city. So we're a big city, we're a global community for health, but what I think our residents appreciate the most, and sometimes our visitors as well, is that we're really connected and we care about being a small town and have those relationships where people want to live and visit and revisit.
Mike, how about for Hopkins, the character of the community?
For Hopkins, we always like to say it's everybody's hometown because we hear that from residents that have been here for 50 years or 5 years. We even hear it from Minnetonka residents that live in Minnetonka. It just reminds them of their hometown. That's why they moved here. And the people that make up our community, I think, are the characters in a good way because they're laid back, they're easygoing, they're looking for fun things to do, they're looking for a walkable community. So it's everybody's hometown would be our character.
Sharon for Marshall?
We're about 3 hours southwest of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and about an hour and a half northeast of Sioux Falls. So a rural southwest Minnesota city, but I would describe Marshall as a leading regional city in southwest Minnesota. And our community is someone who's really never satisfied with where we're at and always asking about what's next.
When you think about communities that are thriving today, what do they have in common? What are the ingredients that make people want to live there and visitors want to spend time there? Sharon?
Well, I know Mike mentioned the people in the community, and I think that's true for Marshall as well. Our median age is 32. Part of that's related to having a 4-year university in our community, Southwest State University. So it's a great place to raise families. It's a safe, clean community as well. And so having safety and security obviously makes it a place where people want to live and raise their families. And I also think, and we see this here in Rochester, every time I visit, there's a construction crane somewhere. But it's really investing in your community, infrastructure, buildings, streets, roads, transit. We see a lot of that in Rochester, but Marshall does a fair job of doing that as well.
Mike, how about for Hopkins? What are the ingredients?
Kind of what Sharon said. I mean, I'm going to continue to talk about the people because you need the people that are positive and they're cheerleaders for your community. But we worked really hard at our main street to get restaurants, public open space. We have a downtown park. We've got a great music vibe going on where we've got 5 or 6 establishments now that play music on the weekend. We're walkable. We're bikeable. You can bike in our community. You can hit 5 different trails. So just you need good infrastructure, good public services, and a combination of good private investment with your restaurants.
Allison in Rochester.
Won't surprise you that another city professional is going to say all of the things that Sharon and Mike said. But I also think thriving communities give people both opportunity and belonging. And so I think all of those, the fabric that was talked about is really important, whether that's a smaller community or a city like Rochester. But I also think the strongest cities are also comfortable evolving without losing their identity. So both Sharon and Mike talked about, continuing to invest and evolve, and even in other people coming forward with their own business opportunities. I think most cities, the things that a community really wants are also the things that visitors want. And so people want to be a visitor in their own city and be proud of that when people come see them. And they also want to be authentic. So I think people want to feel welcome and like they belong in their community, and also like other people feel welcome there.
Mike, you mentioned a growing music scene in Hopkins, and I obviously see that in Rochester. I've been here over 8 years. I see that all over, it seems like, Minnesota, especially in the summer. Can any one of you talk about the music scene and how it's grown over the years?
Well, for us, we have the Arts Center, which has concerts, 7 to 8 concerts a year. They also run our downtown park where we do summer concerts on Thursday night. We don't just have one brew pub. We have 2 brew pubs, and they have music on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we have a couple other restaurants, and they kind of play off each other, and they have block parties outside, and the music is kind of a way to bring a connection to people. So we've realized that we've got this great music vibe. We've also got a couple businesses where you can get karaoke lessons. You can buy instruments from a place. There's a vinyl record store. So it's becoming an art kind of a music venue too, besides the newer restaurants that we're getting in our city.
I'll just add to that for Marshall. About 3 years ago, we reconstructed 3rd Street, which is in downtown Marshall. And each Thursday in the summers, we have what's called Eats and Beats. So we bring in musical
nice name.
Entertainment, and we get a really good mix of people at those, bring food trucks in and so forth. And it's just a really good vibe and brings the community together.
And Allison, Rochester has a music department.
Yeah, we're pretty unique in that way. So we have a public music department in Rochester. It's existed for a really long time, since like the early 1900s, 1920s. Maybe that's because of the Mayo brothers. We don't really know. But I would say one thing that's been interesting to see since COVID is we have a Riverside concert series where it's free concerts in our downtown park right next to the Civic Center that public music puts on. With some bigger names, but then we also have a forward concert series. So we're a ward-based system, and we have 6 concerts in the summer in city parks within people's neighborhoods with more sort of that NPR vibe Minnesota music. And those have really taken off. We have a lot of people going to those. I think our most recent had over 1,200 people attend. In a city park. Now, we also had a Minnesota native, Corey Kennedy, so that was probably the draw. But yeah, I think people just really are enjoying getting together. And what Mike said, it's kind of like the great bridger of divides. People are there to enjoy the same music, and maybe they would actually talk to somebody they never would before.
Every city makes choices about where to invest its time, energy, and resources. What's one project, place, or investment in your community that has had meaningful impact on quality of life and community pride? Mike in Hopkins?
I got to go back to Main Street. I started there in 2011, and I sat down with the mayor and I said, what are the top priorities? And he wrote 5 down, and all 5 are Main Street. So we've provided about $1 million in facade loans it's a historic downtown, 125-year-old building. So we kept the buildings intact. We allow street cafes, which a lot of suburbs don't. We were the first suburb to have a brew pub. And I can go on and on and on. We 12 years ago, we didn't have any fine dining restaurants. We now have 3. We also have a lot of festivals, and everything's focused on our Main Street. We want everybody to come to our Main Street. We have to fight a little harder because we have Wayzata and Excelsior close by, but they have Lake Minnetonka. We don't have a lake. We got rooftops, asphalts, 494 and Hot 169. So we work really hard to get our Main Street. We work pretty hard to keep out, big box stuff just because we want our Main Street to work. So I think we've been pretty successful, thanks to mayors and councils from years ago.
Sharon, how about in Marshall?
If you're coming out west, one of the first city buildings you will see is Red Baron Arena and Expo Center. It was completed construction in 2016, so we're actually celebrating 10 years. It has 2 hockey rinks in the facility, but when one of the rinks and the ice comes off, we do host community events in there and other types of events, whether it be weddings or home shows and things like that. So I have to say it predated my time with the city of Marshall. It actually started discussions in 2012, and it's been very, very successful. And just to get back to hockey a little bit, anyone who's played hockey in that facility says it's one of the best hockey facilities in the state. So it really is a wonderful facility, and it's something that people talk about in terms of community pride for Marshall.
Well, we are the state of hockey after all.
Right.
Allison, how about in Rochester?
For me, it's what I hear from residents and visitors, which is our parks and trail system. We have a lot of folks that really like to get outdoors and stay healthy. And so we have a significant, I think over 187 parks across the city connected by trail system. And that really connects our neighborhoods together between each other. But we also get people out into the community and getting healthy, those kinds of things. I would say the other thing that we've invested in that's maybe not physical structure is community engagement. And I'm really grateful to the city council and the mayor. We have a new passport program that people can get a sticker from if they get all. I think you don't have to get all of the council members and the mayor. You have to get 6 out of 8. Then you can turn your passport in. And so it's just an easy way for people to engage with their elected officials, because a lot of times people don't engage with the city in that way. They're not watching our council meetings like they're listening to this podcast. But I do think it's a great way for the community to feel connected, regardless of what different amenities they might have access to.
I have some specific questions for each of you for your communities. Allison, in Rochester, you've experienced tremendous growth and transformation over the past decade through public-private partnerships and major investments in downtown and community amenities. As Rochester continues to grow, how do you balance embracing new opportunities while preserving the sense of community that residents value?
Yeah, I think a key there is sometimes we experience it and sometimes growth happens to us. And so we have a lot of cranes up and that not everyone always loves that. We have a little bit of construction fatigue happening, but it is really exciting to work in a community and live in a community where there's a lot happening. And I think it's important to start first recognizing that growth isn't the goal by itself. The goal is to use growth to create a better community for today, for tomorrow, for everyone who's living here and those who might be interested in living here, visiting here. So we do have an extraordinary period of investment happening, a lot of private investment, but almost $1 billion of public investment also happening over the next 5 years. So we don't want Rochester to become a collection of impressive projects that you move between. We want it to be a real community where people encounter one another, build relationships, and feel connected to the city and their story in the city. And I think our best public-private partnerships aren't just transactional. They really begin with shared vision. And I think we've gotten better and better at that, despite the fact that one of our major partners has a very clear vision for itself. How does that also help the community to move forward and thrive? And so I think the challenge is not choosing between becoming a global destination and preserving our community character. It's ensuring Rochester's global growth strengthens what is local.
Mike, Hopkins has earned a reputation for having a vibrant downtown and strong sense of place, despite being surrounded by larger metropolitan neighbors. How has Hopkins maintained its unique identity while continuing to evolve and grow?
Well, we work hard. I'll start with that. And we never really wanted to be Edina, St. Louis Park, Minnetonka, Eden Prairie. Those are the 4 suburbs that are over 70,000 that surround us that all have malls or bigger shopping entities. We just kind of went about our business and said, we're going to be the best small town in the metropolitan area. We are very flexible. We don't look to say no to developers. We find ways to say yes. I mean, we have a painting store that comes in where you can paint portraits that has, you can have a glass of wine. We have a bookstore that serves wine. We bend our liquor rules with liquor control, obviously giving us permission, but we don't care that you're not going to serve food. If you're going to bring people in town, we want to try to work with you. We also have a lot of festivals. We have Raspberry Festival. We have a food truck festival. LTD has a block party. There's a Rib Fest, Hopkins Royal Bash Festival. The goal of those is we want people from other cities to come and see what our city has to offer. And all of a sudden they see a restaurant like, wow, I'm coming back. So we're doing whatever we can. I mean, we work hard to get what we've got. And I'm very proud of what we've done with our entire team in Hopkins.
You have Paige Becker's Day.
We did.
So
We renamed our city Paige Becker's Day, even though I shouldn't say this out loud. She lived in St. Louis Park, but we don't care. We just took it up when she was the first round draft choice. And we got so much national attention for that. And nobody ever questioned it. A couple St. Louis Park residents were upset about it, but
They
we don't
might
care.
now.
Yeah, good point. Well, he's going to cut this out.
No editing. I've just changed my mind. Sharon, Marshall serves as an important regional hub for Southwest Minnesota, supporting residents from throughout the region through employment, education, healthcare, and recreation. What strengths do regional centers like Marshall bring to Minnesota's future, and how do those strengths help attract people and investment?
Well, Marshall is a rural area, and we're surrounded by agriculture. And Marshall thrives off of that economy as well. We are a food production town, meaning that we have several large businesses that produce food for not only the state, of course, but the world. And so when you look at Minnesota's beginnings, it is agriculture, and you look at their future, it is agriculture. And so I think for Marshall, it has meant attracting people in terms of jobs, and it also has meant bringing in diversity. We have a pretty large Karen population, and that's related to one of our ag production companies that we have in Marshall. And it also has meant investment. ADM, which is a corn processing facility, has done a number of investments. And again, it really contributes to Minnesota's future because agriculture is where it's at.
One of the reasons city leaders gather at the League of Minnesota Cities conference is to exchange ideas. What's one lesson, innovation, or approach you've seen from another community that has influenced your thinking as a city leader? Alison?
It's great to get together at the League of Minnesota Cities, and I think we learn from each other. Sometimes we steal from each other all the time. And I would say something that's fascinating to me is I used to work for the city of Mankato, and when I was there, I worked for a person who was contemporaries with my predecessor in the city of Rochester. And I think if you are ever in Mankato at their civic center, you'll see it's across the street from their government center. Our civic center is across the street from the government center. Our government center, similar to Mankato, has two different governments in it. So I think partnership is probably what I took away the most from Mankato, and that you can do so much more if you partner.
Mike?
For me, I'm going to go way off the board. There's two lessons that hit me hard 20-some years ago and 10 years ago. There's a speaker that talked about for the love of cities, and he said, in order to succeed as a city, you got to be worried about cave people, which is citizens against virtual everything, because they will derail your city. And you've got to get the silent majority out there to speak about all the positives of whatever it might be, an infrastructure project, a business, a park project. And the other speaker was Chad Weinstein, who's a consultant from the Twin Cities, who talked about cities. And his first line was, when you see one city, you see one city. And that helped us by when people would come to us say, why can't we be like 50th in France? Or why can't we have Ridgedale Mall? Well, because we're Hopkins and we're unique that way. So let's enjoy our uniqueness and challenge and surprise that and celebrate it.
Sharon, how about you?
I have to say I'm impressed with Rochester, and I have been for a very long time. So it's great to be here for the league because you do get to see it behind the scenes, really, and take some of the tours. And so that is, for me, just kind of inspirational. And even though we're a small city, we can take some things from Rochester. And I want to talk about Hopkins, too. My dad was a favorite tractor is Minneapolis Moline.
Cool.
So your downtown development, kind of has a sensitive side to me in terms of what you did there. So just really, really impressed with Rochester and Hopkins. I'm going to give a shout out to a really small community in Southwest Minnesota because they've done a lot of things with their downtown. They've done streetscaping. They have a brewery on their main street. And you may have heard they recently installed a 63-foot nutcracker. And it is the world's largest nutcracker. And you're probably wondering, what does Laverne have to do with nutcrackers? There is a resident who has one of the largest nutcracker collections probably in the world. And so they're just kind of honing in on that. And I think it'll be a tourism draw off of I-90. And for anybody that's going to the Black Hills, which there's a lot of them this time of year, I've been really impressed with what they've done. Small community, nice branding, devoted to downtown and Main Street. and then doing some unique things to bring people to their community.
I will say Laverne presented that case study at the Explore Minnesota Tourism Conference this year, and we were all blown away.
Yeah, they're very impressed.
As you think about the next decade, what's the biggest opportunity for Minnesota cities to create places where people want to live and visit? Mike?
I think I'm probably going to answer this differently, but maybe not. I always go back that the best way cities can expand is to have what I call the three-legged stool. You need to have a mayor and council that gets it, has a vision, flies at 10,000 feet, doesn't get in the weeds. You got to have a staff that gets along well with the council and implements it. And then you got to have your community, which is your residents. I've worked in 5 cities, and I've had most of my cities that were all aligned. And when you're aligned, it's amazing what a city can do to take on whatever the next 10 years will bring us, because we don't really know. We didn't know COVID was coming, and we all adjusted to that. So it's just a matter of we're a team sport. And when you're playing well as a team, maybe we won't win a Super Bowl like the Vikings, but at least we're going to get to the playoffs. Had to get that one in.
Sure, bring us down. Sharon?
Yeah, when I think about the biggest opportunities for Minnesota cities, I'm going to be a little bit more broad and not so city focused on structures maybe, but I see a lot of investment by succeeding cities in parks and recreation. And I really think it's because Minnesotans want to be outside and enjoy the natural environment. So I look forward to, in terms of the cities and how they relate to the state of Minnesota, is that we have a lot of great opportunities to enjoy recreation and be outdoors. And Minnesota gets a hard time for being a cold state and rough winters, but we're seeing it moderate. And I think there's great opportunities for the state because winters aren't as harsh as they used to be. So lots of potential growth in bringing people back home to the state of Minnesota.
Alison?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. And I think the people that live here, I'm not from Minnesota originally, but I think over the last year or two, we've really seen the best of people in Minnesota. And I think embracing that and telling our story and continuing to be the best of ourselves and connecting with each other, whether that's, city manager to city manager, council to council, or just telling our story that this is a place where people can live, where you can be connected, be successful, have wonderful quality of life. You don't just go to work, you actually get to know your neighbors and be supported by your community, which isn't just the city, it's all the people that live there. I think that's a great story to tell. And I think we have an opportunity to come together and make sure that in each of our unique ways as a unique city, that we have a lot of different places here that people could live and thrive, and we're a place to be.
And way back when, there was a Time article, Minnesota's no longer flyover country, and that certainly is the case today. We have time for a quick lightning round, so I have a few questions here. I'll just go down and start with you, Alison. What's one thing every first-time visitor should experience in your community?
I would say anybody that's in the community should start with a walk downtown, pop in anywhere and get a bite to eat in one of our local restaurants. And you're going to get a different sense of the place if you experience a quick walk through our, what we consider a mega downtown with the Mayo Clinic and all of that, but then also stop in where all of our locals are eating.
Mike and Hopkins?
We have the world's largest raspberry, 1,000 pounds, 22 feet. It's right by a brew pub, so you can have a beer and take a picture with the world's largest raspberry, and it's the beginning of our main street. So you can just start there and go from there.
Sharon, Marshall?
Yeah, I think every first-time visitor in Marshall should bike the Camden Regional Trail. Takes you from Marshall down to Camden State Park, which is one of the nicest state parks in Minnesota. People may not know that, but it's really great. And the beauty of this trail is it's sort of uphill on the way out, and on the way back, it's downhill. So easy bike.
Sharon, what's one event or tradition that best reflects your community spirit?
Yeah, every summer our community festival is Sounds of Summer, actually, and lots of bands, lots of people, again, food trucks, and just a really good community get-together.
Mike?
It's our 92nd year of Raspberry Festival, July 16th, 17th, and 18th. It's a great festival that brings in about 25,000 people.
I've been. It's really fun.
It's great. So same thing as you, music and food, and what else can you ask for? So,
Alison?
This won't be a surprise, but Thursday's downtown and a close second. Although if you come here on a Wednesday and leave on a Monday morning, you can do Forward concert, hit Thursday's downtown for great food and global affair. And then on Sunday, you can hit a Riverside concert series.
A lot of tunes. What's one word you're hopeful will describe your community 10 years from now? Mike?
Well, currently we're described as fun, hip, and cool, and I'm not good at math, so I'm going to go with the same words. I hope we're still fun, hip, and cool 10 years from now.
Allison?
I'll say connected.
Mike had 3 words, so I'm going to keep it to 1. Not picking on you, Mike.
No, you can.
Can I? No. I'll say possibilities.
Before we wrap, I just want to also give a call out to Sharon on her 2026 recipient of the Dr. Robert A. Barrett Award for Management Excellence, which is the top honor presented by the Minnesota City County Management Association. Congratulations. That was just this past May.
Thank you so much. I was very, very surprised, but it's awesome to be recognized by your peers. And yeah, just great support network from my city administrators and managers in the state. So it was awesome.
Alison Zelms from Rochester, Mike Mornson from Hopkins, and Sharon Hanson from Marshall. Thank you for sharing your perspectives and insights on the Growing Destinations podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
And thank you to the League of Minnesota Cities for bringing leaders together to learn from one another and strengthen communities across our state. Thanks for listening to Growing Destinations, brought to you by Experience Rochester. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it. And if you're planning your next getaway, weekend trip, or conference destination, discover everything happening in Rochester, Minnesota. Because this isn't the Rochester you think you know. This is Rochester, really. Learn more at experiencerochestermn.com.